Welcome back to the Something Cafe. You know what I'm going to ask you, huh? You know what I'm going to ask you. Did you bring it? Did you bring it? What am I talking about? Well, if you're a first time listener, you might not even know what I'm talking about. Lars does. Check it out. Lars is excited for another episode of the Something Cafe. Did you bring your cup? Huh? Did you bring it? This is the cafe after all. Did you bring your cup? Because this is a cafe and this is the Something Cafe. The Something Cafe where we talk about nothing. Check that out. Welcome to episode 8 of the Something Cafe. It's been going great. We're on episode 8, guys. We've had 2 episodes back to back of guests. I hope you guys enjoyed those. We had on Impact, West Side rapper from Cali, and then we had on Vonnie Bain, the graphic artist, best friend that gets hit on all the time and people think she's Asian. But really, she's Mexican. Roll that up and smoke it, brother. So yeah, welcome to episode 8, guys. Let me just start off by saying that high school classes, or just classes in general, like I'd say junior high and high school, do you remember, maybe you were that kid, maybe you knew that kid, but do you remember that kid that would just like be rude to the teachers and say when are we ever gonna use this? Or they'll say things like, is this gonna be useful? Like, what's the point of learning this? We all secretly agreed with them, and if you didn't agree with them, then you're a nerd. I did, but I was never brave enough to say it because, that is being rude to your teachers, and I had a lot of cool teachers growing up. But I could not agree with them more. I wanted to stand up and rally so bad, because that's a very valid question. And let me tell you one thing. I have done something recently that I have learned from a class. So, that kind of proves that person wrong, does it not? I actually been doing something that I had learned from just one of the curriculars from high school in my everyday life. And that is actually science class. You might be asking yourself, Celestino, what are you doing in your daily life that uses a knowledge you got from science class? Let me tell you. Thank you to Mrs. T, my science teacher. Because of science class, I have now been successfully infusing and brewing my own liquor. So thank you. Thank you. That's probably the most I'll ever get out of any class from high school. Is I have been brewing, not brewing, but I have been concocting, infusing, developing, fermenting my own liquor. And the way that it pertains to science class is utilizing the method of different control groups. Do you hear that little bit of... It is Lars throwing one of my favorite pens up against the wall. So that's cool. I bet the noise gate will cut that out, but if it doesn't, then I will give Lars away to PETA. Which I'll never do that. Lars is gorgeous. So, control groups from science class. That is the one thing I've taken away, and it has helped me make liquor. And what I've been doing is I've got 3 control groups. I'm making limoncello. Huh? Limoncello. Limoncello. An Italian lemon liqueur. Amarilli mia bella. Non credo del mercole. Bella ciao, bella ciao. Oh, I'm Bella Ciao up in this bitch. I have 3 jars. 3. I have Control Group A. It is just vodka and 3 lemons worth of lemon zest. Control Group B. Control Group A is my true control group. And then Group B is vodka, 3 lemons worth of lemon zest, all the same proportions, but then an equal amount of my own simple simple syrup that I've made myself, equal parts of that to the vodka portion. And that's in a jar. And then Group C is a gallon jar that I bought. I bought that one for bigger batches. But right now, I'm using these 3 jars just for a test run, just to see how it goes. And once I find a method that I like, then I will put in the money to get enough ingredients to fill up that gallon jar, and then let that sit for a good 6 months. In Group C, it's the same thing as Group A, so it's just it is actually 12 lemons worth of zest, and then enough, and then mathematically a proportionate amount of vodka. But the rest, and now that's the same thing as Group A, right? Well, I'm doing this because the recipe that I had looked at called for the simple syrup to be put in 2 weeks after you let just the zest and the vodka sit. I'm not sure what difference that's gonna make, but I am intrigued to see if it does. And I've got these 3 groups because once they're done, I'm going to taste test them and then see which one I prefer. Maybe I'll have some friends come over and they'll taste test them, and I'll see how they like it. Do they like theirs without any without any syrup in it? Do they like it a bit stronger? Do they like it with the syrup in it that's been in it since the start? And then maybe they will like, for some reason, maybe Group C will yield maybe Group C will yield a beverage that maybe there's a difference to it because I added the syrup 2 weeks after letting the lemon zest sit in the vodka for 2 weeks prior. Now I know a lot of that can go over your head. All right. And if you know me in my personal life, you'll know that I am truly a man of science. That couldn't be farther from the truth. I was in Algebra 2 my senior year of high school, and the next closest person to my age was a 15-year-old sophomore. But I am making my own vodka. Thank you, science. Thank you, science. Speaking of silence, what did I just say? Silence? Guys, I'm tired. I'm tired because last night I had a client come over. He wanted to record some poetry. I'm like, dude, awesome. That's less work for me. I don't even have to make music. I've just got to record and then edit his vocals. He came over at 7 and he left at 1. Your boy's tired. But I've gotten very good at editing audio. Now, if you don't do what I do and what other people do, that might sound simple to you. But I am proud about my skills when it comes to editing waveforms and audio and being able to make things sound seamless. Like I took one poem, I took out entire sentences and put them in different places and switched them and changed words mid-breath and blah blah blah. cut it all together just perfectly that it sounds like one take. And I did that last night for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I did that for 6 hours last night. So I'm pretty tired. I'm recording a little bit later than I usually like to. It is currently 11:47 a.m. It might seem early for some of y'all, but I usually like to start recording at around 10. But there is a science to being I would say being a people's person. Huh? I'd say there's a science of being a people's person, and I just realized that this light isn't on. Hold on. Oh yeah, there we go. There's a science to being a people's person, and I went to return some shoes the other day because they were, too small for my big masculine feet. I'm just kidding. I'm a 9, and I'm embarrassed about it. And right next to the UPS store was a trap. It was a trap wrapped in a beautiful, beautiful paper. It was a boba shop, and your boy loves boba. Oh, I love boba tea. Boba tea, popping boba tea, tapioca popping boba tea, cinnamon boba popping tea, popping boba, cinnamon popping boba, fruit tea with the boba tea and the tapioca boba. I love that stuff, man. It's just tasty. It's just really, really tasty, and it has a little bit of caffeine in it. Your boy wanted some. So I go in. Immediately, the woman behind brewing is the most beautiful woman I've probably seen in my entire life. Just a bigger set woman with nice long black hair and a beautiful face. And I already regretted going in there because I knew I'd be disappointed coming out because I knew she wouldn't be with me when I did. So I made a mistake. But what's mending a broken heart like a good boba tea with the boba tapioca popping fruit and the cinnamon popping boba tea. I go up there and I look up at the menu, and brother, I'm not kidding. They had 50 flavors, probably more. Brother, they had 50 flavors of drink. And that's when I realized I probably should have not paid attention to the woman and just stayed back and just gave myself some time to look at the menu. But I immediately went up to the desk because I saw what I wanted, and then I remembered that this was a boba tea shop. And now the cashier was this dude. And I truly believe this man has never been graced by the touch of joy in his life. It's a boba tea shop that sells boba poppin', cinnamon tapioca poppin' boba with the fruit poppin' boba. All right, you should be happy in here. This guy goes, "Hey, what do you want?" I'm like, huh? Sorry? Right off the bat, a depressed cashier and a kid with a stutter World War I. Okay? So, we're already off to a bad start. Hey, what do you want? Hi, I'd like, oh man, what do you recommend for the milk slush, boba drinks? You want the milk slush? Yeah. What flavors, like what flavor do you recommend? He looks at me for a couple seconds, looks up at the menu, looks back down to me. I like the Oreo. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just thinking you get me the Oreo and I'll get you the suicide help hotline because both of us need both of those things. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then, of course, I have to ask him another question because I'm stupid like that. And because I don't know what kind of poppin' boba with the tapioca poppin' boba with the poppin' boba cinnamon. I don't know which one fits best with the Oreo slush. So I'm like, okay, which boba do you recommend? What? Brother, brother, there are not a lot of different types of questions I could be asking you right now. Would I be standing here asking you what your favorite John Deere tractor is? Huh? No, that'd be silly, right? That'd be silly. I'm here asking you about what you're selling, brother. All right? So when I ask you what kind of boba do you recommend, that is not a confusing question. If I were to go in there and say, how do you declaw a platypus? I would be okay with you being confused. But I'm not. There is no platypus. There is only boba and a beautiful big Asian woman in the back. Okay? I know what we're dealing with here. And Papa wants some boba. Right? We finally get to the end. I get my Oreo slush with normal tapioca with the poppin' and the cinnamon tapioca, the poppin' boba with the cinnamon poppin' boba tea and the poppin'. I got the normal boba. And I wait for like 10 freaking minutes. There's no one else in line. And I finally get it. I go back outside. Probably the worst boba I've gotten in my entire life. You know those things that you drink or eat, the moment you swallow the first like sip or bite, your stomach just starts hurting. Is that bad? I think that can't be good. That can't be good. There's something scientifical going on in my tummy. So I'll figure it out. But I was a bartender for almost a year. Look, even on your worst days, man, like your job is to be presentable. I'm not asking you to throw in a freaking free foot massage in there, brother. I want you to be cooperative because I'm trying to figure this out. We've got a lot of distractions. And apparently you're just trying to stay alive. So we can both get through this together happy. If you just listen and not be, when you want them boba, you want them boba. Don't be that, brother. I just returned shoes and I'm feeling energized. Ridiculous. And speaking of ridiculous, first of all, shout out to Mitra 9, please sponsor me. I'm a little shy to reach out to them real quick, just because this is still a smaller podcast. I've amassed maybe like 80 listeners in the last 60 days. So I'm still a small podcast and I don't know if they would, maybe I could reach out to them and just do like a unboxing thing for them or something. I don't know, but I really want to get sponsored by them. But first, let's take a sip together. Did you bring your cup? Huh? If you didn't, you're about to feel left out, brother. Here we go. What are you drinking, huh? Are you drinking tea? Well, I'll tell you this. If you're one of my close friends in about a month, you're going to be drinking my lemon-infused vodka. Maybe I'll do an episode with a guest and we drink that together. It'll be a fun little episode, But yeah, speaking of ridiculous, throughout my life, I've had a couple pretty ridiculous dreams. I've never had a dream journal. Since I was little, I've always said I was going to start one just because of how ridiculous my dreams are. But but then at the same time, I trust that I remember them just because of how absolutely crazy they are. I mean, the dreams I have are absolutely crazy. I don't dream every night, but when I do, I almost hit up Michael Bay, brother. Michael Bay better be on my Michael Bay better be on my Rolodex, because I'm about to hire him. I've got a dream to tell you all about that I had a long, long time ago. And I could be making these up. I could be embellishing, but I want you to be honest with me. And I want to be honest with you. And I'm telling you that these dreams are genuine. These dreams are genuine. Pony style. All right? These are all real, man. I can't make some of this stuff up, man. And the one I'm going to tell now is it's got a simple title. It's called the Godzilla Dream. The Godzilla Dream. And now there are certain perspectives you can take in a dream. Is it first person? Is it is it third person? Or is it just you watching the dream, right? Like is it just kind of like a TV show? Like you are watching the dream, like you're watching it on like a TV. You're not a part of the show when you're watching TV. It's not third person. You are just observing the story. And I was a part of this dream, but again, I was more of a watcher. I didn't really partake. I just saw everything that was going on. So this dream starts in the jungle, and there's a tribe of emus. And the emus are like the native people of this jungle, of this land or whatever. They have huts, they have spears, like very tribal, very primitive emu family ship. You know, we got that going on. And the emus are all happy and they live together, and they're kind of like people, but they're emus. And then one day, you know, I'm trying to remember, you know, the emus, for some reason, they just really hate Godzilla. Because every other year, Godzilla comes and destroys the city that's like the neighbor to this tribe of emus. So the emus all year. And you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I am an emu in this dream. I had this dream when I was in grade school, guys. I wrote a story about it. I wish I could find that somewhere on an old Word document. But I believe I was an emu in this tribe. I didn't have any major role though. I was more of a supporting character. And you know, the emus, you know, we were all trying to get ready for fighting Godzilla, and then all of a sudden the alarms go off in this primitive village. We have an alarm system, and the alarms go off, and when it's the Godzilla alarm, very routinely named, and that means now Godzilla has touched down in the neighboring city, and we're gonna go protect them. Because a little later did I learn that we are emu ninjas. That could have been implied from the beginning with the spears, but we've got shurikens and blades and spears, and we can run fast. We are emu ninjas. So we go out, and as we're, you know, the city's a good ways away, and halfway through the journey to the city, we run into Katy Perry. And we tell Katy Perry about how Godzilla is destroying the city, and the emu ninjas are trying to save the city. So Katy Perry joins in, and she hops on the back of one of us emus, and we go to the city, and we see Godzilla destroying the city. So all of us run run up his arms and his legs and get on top of his head and like start attacking him and everything. And then we finally kill him. He falls onto the ground. And then Katy Perry and all the emus are standing on top of Godzilla celebrating. And then Godzilla's body like dissolves into the ground, never to be seen again. And everyone in the city's happy. Pretty crazy dream. Pretty crazy dream. Katy Perry and the Ninja Emus versus Godzilla. You know, I like that one. And because I have such crazy dreams, my nightmares are some of the worst. They are some of the worst nightmares ever. Some of the most horrifying. I'm trying to find a word that's more powerful than horrifying. I can't find one, but that's what my nightmares are like. Is horrifying. Absolutely demented nightmares. I haven't dreamed a lot recently, unfortunately, but it's kind of like, do I dream and risk having that nightmare or just not dream at all? I'd rather not dream at all. I will tell you one of my nightmares. I would say I'm trying to choose between two because they are both pretty horrifying. I'll choose the first one. So, have you ever seen How to Train Your Dragon? How to Train Your Dragon 1, to be specific. Every sequel of How to Train Your Dragon is trash and should be erased from history. Almost every sequel of those beloved cartoons when we were kids should be erased from history. They are bad. They're all cash grabs. They suck. Kung Fu Panda 4 just came out. Horrible movie. Cash grab. Out the wazoo. Stick with the first one. Kung Fu Panda 1 was incredible. It was good. It told a great story. It had good character development. The animation was great. Now everything looks like a crappy video game, and the stories are just so phoned in. Well, How to Train Your Dragon, there is a dragon called the Natterhead. It's the one that Astrid rides. I cannot believe I remembered that. And the Natterhead or the Adderhead, the Deadly Natter. Okay, now I don't remember. It's something stupid like that. But it's like just Google the dragon that Astrid rides, so you'll get an idea. It looks like if a velociraptor and a dodo bird mixed together and then grew 3 feet tall and was on the senior basketball team. One of those, it was me and my family sitting in our living room at the house back in my home state, and we're sitting in the living room, and we live on a farm, and on you could see in the distance this small figure, really, really small, very, very far away, and none of us thought any about it. So we just kept watching TV and was chilling. And I kept watching that figure, and it got closer and closer and closer and closer until I realized that something was running at us. By the point where I could tell what it was, I started yelling for my family to go downstairs, blah, blah, blah. And once we all got up and started running towards the basement, it broke through our living room window, and it was this crazed bloodlust dragon thing with small arms and long legs, and it was like cricking his head all around, like how animals are trying to smell. It was just absolutely manic. Absolutely rabid monsters just started trying to find us, and then we all get downstairs. We lock the door, and we can hear it trying to O-line itself through the door. And then I realize that Dad isn't with us. It's just me, my mom, and my brother. And we're like, where's dad? Where's dad? And we realized that dad got confused and he headed to the bathroom. Now the three of us are downstairs and dad's in the bathroom, and then the Natterhead dragon thing, we can hear him stomping with his feet on the floor, and we can kind of follow where he's going, and he gets closer and closer to the bathroom. And then it was absolute silence. And then all of a sudden, there's a loud crack. And you could hear my father scream. But the scream was very short. And then it was back to silence. And all of us were like trying to stay quiet, crying, balled up in the corner. And then a couple seconds later, when we looked up at the top of the basement ceiling, which was the bathroom floor, just a big red spot just started to grow. And my little brother cries because he just realized what had just happened. So now we're really trying to survive. Dad's dead, and we're still in the basement. So Mom, being the awesome mom, is trying to protect me and my little brother. So she goes up to the door, and she said that she's gonna distract the beast, for me and my little brother to escape, to go get in a car and drive or whatever. Apparently we didn't think to call 911, huh? That could have been helpful. They knowing 911's efficiency, they would have just shot it, which would be awesome. But Mom opens the door to the basement, runs up the stairs to distract him, but she doesn't even make it halfway up the stairs. The Natterhead comes through the side wall of the stairs and just completely obliterates Mom. So me and my little brother are screaming now, and me and him both go in opposite directions to hide. I go back in the room that we were, and he goes the opposite way he balls up into like a little kitchen cupboard thing. So now we're separated, and the Natterhead is downstairs with us, and it's looking for us. And I can hear it get close to me, and it's smelling, and it's sniffing, and it's rubbing its head on like the wall and the floor and stuff like that. But Declan, apparently, I just said it. That's my little brother's name. Declan, shifts his foot and accidentally knocks something over. I don't know how. He's inside a cupboard. Again, this is a dream. And the Natterhead snaps its head over to him and runs towards him. As he's running towards him, I find a way to escape, and I run up the stairs, and of course Declan gets killed. I can hear that, which was awesome. Not. And then I make my way up to the garage. I lock the door, but then when I locked the door, I realized, because I was going to get in the car, but I realized the keys were inside the house. And then the dream ended when the monster thing like busted through the door that I was just behind, and it killed me, and then I woke up. Yeah. These are the kind of nightmares that I have. Imagine living that out in like real time, thinking that it's all real. It sucks. Dude, like, and that is not even the worst one, dude. I'm gonna save the dreams and the nightmares for another episode now, because I don't want to depress you too much. I don't want to turn you into that boba cashier, but I have nightmares that are even worse than that, dude. Oh man, absolutely crazy, dude. Absolutely crazy. And speaking of crazy, how crazy is it that I'm gonna take another sip? We're chilling now. Lars? Lars? Lars was not helpful in the recording last night. It's really funny. The poet, he was probably the most talented poet I think I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot of live poetry, just from all of these gigs that I've done and whatnot. Open mics where people come and they do poetry instead of sing. He is probably the best poet I've ever heard, and he was doing this awesome piece called, that was talking about, he was a more mature black man, and he was doing these awesome poems on racism and the black community and stuff like that. And he's saying he's doing these poems that are like, saying things like, man, like, pull your pants up. What do you think you are, a thug? Like, the most thug thing you can do is get a job and provide for your family. Stop acting like you're a gangbanger. Just things like that. And I respect that. I mean, I can't relate to it, obviously, but I really respect the art. I really respect the message. And he got to the end of this line, and the line, he says something like, oh my gosh, my stutter. The true black youth says things like, and right when he paused there, Lars just goes, meow. And both of us just started dying laughing. It was I'm glad he found it funny, because depending on the client, they could get really, really pissed. So that's when Lars went out on the balcony. You've seen me do that. If you've watched a guest episode, every guest episode, Lars has been out on the balcony. But yeah, I was like, oh, that was such a good line, and it's such a good message, and then Lars just has to ruin it. Lars, you do not speak for the black youth, okay? He should know his place. He speaks for the stupid youth, because that's what he is. He is a little undercooked in the cerebral area. But yeah, I'm really glad he thought that was funny. We recorded for a long time. I got really tired by the end. My energy definitely dropped. But what does have my energy going, what's something that I am excited about is, okay, so like I play Overwatch, right? Probably the reason why I'm still single. Not true, but again, I mean, if I said, oh man, my hobby is fixing boats, then I think I'd be a bit more attractive. But no, I play Overwatch, and it's such a fun game. It is like probably it is one of the most hated games in the gaming industry, and I really don't know why. I think people just hate on it because it's popular to hate on it, and if you look for bad things, you're gonna find bad things. But overall, it's a really fun game. They've been doing a lot in fixing it. I've been playing a lot of it. It's brought me a lot of peace in the last couple months, just because, like, oh, why does a video game bring you peace? Mostly because I wasn't playing games for a long time, and then when I realized that Overwatch was kind of coming back into the limelight, I was like, oh, I kind of want to get back into it. And now, when I'm done with all of my adult stuff, and I'm done with all of my music or audio stuff or podcast stuff, I can confidently just sit down and play Overwatch. And that's a great feeling, because I struggle with anxiety real bad, and the worst anxiety I have is just about wasting time. And you could call that wasting time, playing video games. Some people do. Some people have said it to my face. But, I live by myself. I don't take care of anybody but me. And when I have everything done, then I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to chill out. I'm going to play Overwatch. And I love it. And the reason I brought this up is because, well, one, I've been playing a lot of it. But two, they are doing something very cool. Probably one of the coolest things. I love anime. Okay. And I had recently in the last month or so, finished watching the entirety of the anime called Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop was like one of the first animes ever, like made in like the 80s. Okay, it's an animated cartoon. It's a full blown anime. All the anime tropes. It's animated like it's an anime with the boba tea and the poppin' boba and the cinnamon boba tea and the tea and the fruit poppin' boba tea, tapioca poppin' boba tea, and an incredible show. It's got like 20 something episodes. It's all of the music is jazz oriented, beautiful message. The ending is ambiguous, perfect. And they are doing a collab with Overwatch. Overwatch has only done one other. No, you've got to understand. Overwatch makes cool themes and skins and like events and things like this is the Vikings event or the Christmas event or the Halloween event. You know, just like topical things, but very very rare do they do something with a real life property. Now, I'm usually against that just because I call it the Fortnite syndrome, because what Fortnite's doing is they team up with every single property in the entire world, and instead of original characters fighting each other in Fortnite, you have Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty and Wonder Woman fighting each other. That's stupid, that's boring, that's lame, that's useless, dude. That's absolutely useless. It isn't your game anymore. But what they're doing with Overwatch is it's not that they're putting the Cowboy Bebop characters in Overwatch. They're making Overwatch skins for people who don't play games. Skins are like, okay, like this what I'm wearing now. Let's say I were in a video game. This would be a very basic skin. I'm playing a black sweatshirt. I've got khaki cargo pants, black shoes. This would be like a common, not a rare skin. But I could get a cooler skin for my character that's like, oh, it's the, this legendary skin is called High Roller. And it's me in like a suit. Like that's a skin. It's not changing the character. It's just it's a skin. It's making them look different, but it's still the same character. So they are making Cowboy Bebop skins for Overwatch characters. How cool is that, dude? How cool is that? Oh my gosh, man. I'm so excited, man. Oh, that's going to be so cool. I'm so happy I watched that anime a couple months ago, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be as excited. How freaking cool is that, guys? Oh, I'm so excited for that. Super, super excited for that. And check this out. Overwatch is doing another collab. They have never done this, man. They have done one collab with a real life brand / property. They've only done one. It was like a couple years ago. They did one with the anime One Punch Man, which was a very cool collab. They made some cool stuff, but they are now doing more, and I'm excited. I'm optimistically nervous just because they could hit a slippery slope and it turns into Fortnite, where instead of cool original characters and themed skins, it's just like Batman versus Pikachu. If Overwatch did a Pokemon collab, I know my mom and dad listen to this podcast. I'm telling you right now, you will not hear from me in probably a little south of an entire year. Okay? If Pokemon and Overwatch did a collab, the podcast would be on pause. So will my life. I will be milking that cow dry. I'm just smiling thinking about the possibilities, because I'm already thinking of characters that they could do that easily with. And if they're doing Cowboy Bebop in this other collab that I'm about to tell you, Pokemon is not off the table. Oh my gosh, I'm just smiling thinking about it. if they did a collab with Pokemon, you guys would not hear from me for a very, very long time. I probably would never see my family again. I lied earlier. They have done one other collab with a real life property. This was a smaller collab. The One Punch Man was kind of a big deal. They only made one skin for one character. Now this character is a character that has this character's called Doomfist. Doomfist, and he has a giant robotic fist, and his whole thing is he punches with that fist. This hand is normal. He punches with that fist. He shoots things from this fist. Blah blah blah. That's his gimmick. So the One Punch Man collab makes sense. He got a One Punch Man skin. His skin made him look like the skin gave him the clothes of the character from the anime, but again, it didn't change the character. It just made the character look different. That's the key. They did a collab previously to that, which I think is the coolest one. And my ex thinks that she thinks it's not the coolest skin ever. I still stand by it. You're wrong. You're never gonna hear this, but you're wrong. I think this is still the coolest skin ever. Lego teamed up with Overwatch, and they made a Lego skin. They have this character called Bastion. He's like a big droid robot with a gun arm and a normal arm. He can configure into a tank, kind of like a transformer. And they made when Lego collabed with Overwatch, they made a Lego skin for him where he's entirely made out of Lego. So cool. Like, it's very detailed. They made sure every brick fit in the right way. It wasn't sloppy. It wasn't like it was just like pictures of Legos on him. No, it actually looks like he's built out of Legos. So cool. Okay, so we've got 3 collabs. The Cowboy Bebop is coming out on the 12th. This next collab I'm about to tell you that they just announced is probably a collab that if you would have told me that 5 years ago, I would have called you crazy and probably put you in the hospital. Guys, Overwatch is doing a collab with Porsche. You heard me. You heard me. You're not crazy. It's okay. You heard me right. Overwatch, the video game, is doing a collab with the car company Porsche. Okay? How awesome is that? If that is not the coolest thing you've ever heard, I'm just going to have to give you a hug. Because I am so excited for that. They have this character in Overwatch named D.Va, D.Va. D.Va is a young Japanese girl, and she drives this giant mech. It's like it's got like the legs of like it's all cool and pink and like Japanesey, but it's like it's got 2 gun turrets for arms, and then it's the legs bend like a grasshopper's leg would, and she pilots this giant mech. Like that's her thing. And Porsche, with Overwatch team up with Porsche, they made her a Porsche mech, where it's still the same it's still the same build, but the mech looks like it looks like it was made by Porsche. Like sleek, slim, sexy, cool looking, like lights and silver. Oh my gosh, is that not just the coolest thing, man? Is that just not the coolest thing? Oh, dude, I'm so excited for that, and I'm so excited to see what else they do, collab wise. I mean, there's so much that they can do, but the Pokemon one's got me thinking, dude. The Pokemon one's got me thinking. It's got me thinking, man. It's got me thinking. It's got me thinking, guys. I'm excited. I'm excited. Speaking of Pokemon, I got this cool thing. So Man, I know that my older audience has just turned this episode off. I've got this guy at work. He listens to the podcast. I know you're listening right now. What's up, Michael? He's an older gentleman, and I know he could not. I know he does not give a shit about anything I'm talking about right now. But you know, I love Pokemon cards. Pokemon has been doing some really, really cool things for cards recently, and with the most recent generation of Pokemon, every generation has 3 starters, right? When I say generations, I'm talking about the games, right? So like the first ever Pokemon, you know, Pokemon Red, you got Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, right? 3 starters per games, 9 games, 3 times 9. That's something. The most recent gen has probably their fire type starter is probably my favorite Pokemon ever in history. There are over 1,000 Pokemon now. I think that one's my favorite. Oh yeah, and the starters are always one of 3 types. There's always a fire type, a grass type, and a water type. And it does a pyramid, right? The water type is strong against the fire type is strong against the grass type, and the grass type is strong against the water type. So it's this perfect pyramid of effectiveness. But then the water type is weak against the grass type is weak against the fire type is weak against the water type. You follow? Science. And with the most, they put out these premium collection what am I trying to say? Card box sets featuring the 3 starters, and they have one for each of these 3 starters. When I was at Walmart grocery shopping, I saw one, but it was for my least favorite starter of this generation. One of the starters' name is Quaxley. He's this like stupid little duck with a gay haircut, and I don't know. He's just he's just not. I don't know. He's just kind of a stupid Pokemon, but it was the last one, so I had to get it. But this is the first ever box set where they've done this ever. How long has Pokemon been selling cards? This is the first time that they've ever included one of these. It gave me this. Let's let the camera focus. It's a frame that you can put all 3 cards in. It's magnetic, it's nice, it's firm, it has a stand for it. How cool is that, dude? Is that not the coolest thing? And this is for the worst one. It was the last one left. No wonder it was the last one left. If I could get that for my favorite one, which is called Fuecoco, bro, I'd be a happy, happy boy. It's awesome, bro. Super, super cool. I love Fuecoco, man. So the starters of Gen 9 are Quaxley, stupid little duck with the stupid hair. Then you've got Sprigatito, which is a play on, you know, sprig, like the prefix for plant stuff, and then gatito, which is Spanish for cute little small little cat. Sprigatito. Hey, give me the Sprigatito. A little like grass cat kind of deal, and Sprigatito evolves into like this cool like grass freaking puma, or no, like a grass lioness grass wizard mage thing. That took me way too long to, dude. You just witnessed my brain going on overdrive, man. My brain just fried. Holy crap! What was that? Dude, if you're watching the video, you've got to watch my eyes when I just did that. My brain just crashed trying to think of that word, man. And then Fuecoco is my favorite Pokemon of all time now. There's over 1,000 Pokemon. I've loved Pokemon since I think when I came out of my mother's womb, a Pokemon card was in my hand. I've loved Pokemon for that long. And it just goes to show how crazy it is that a Pokemon that was made in the most recent game is now my favorite one of all time. He's this cute little fire crocodile guy, and he evolves into a ghost, a fire type / ghost type flaming ghost alligator with a spirit firebird sitting on his head. If your jaw didn't just drop on the ground, I'm going to need you to go get a concussion test. Because if you don't think that's cool, I think you have Tourette's. Huh? That is the coolest thing ever, dude. His name is, the final evolution is called Skeledirge. And this is the first time in 9 games, 3 starters per game, that the final evolution of a starter is a ghost type. Guys, is there anything cooler than that? I love that Pokemon, bro. Fuecoco, I know my parents are listening right now. I'm not saying, but get me some Fuecoco stuff, your son gonna be happy. Huh? Your son gonna be happy. I could take care of my bills and everything. You just get me some of that Fuecoco Buah. Huh? Some of that Fuecoco El Uccellino canta sulla franda. Huh? So cool. So cool, bro. So cool. You know what's not cool? Rocket fuel. Huh? You know what's not cool? Touching rocket fuel. You're asking yourself, Stino. Ooh, I just said the no word. Uh-oh. My mom doesn't like that one. My mom hates that nickname for me. She hates Stino. But you know what's funny? Is no one in my professional life calls me Stino. Everybody calls me my full name, Celestino. Or in the correct pronunciation in Italian, Celestino. Celestino. In the professional world, I introduce myself as Celestino, and I will not answer to anything else. Because I'm not a particular, I don't have any emotions toward Stino. It's just in the professional world, I want people to know people to know my name. My name is Celestino. So that's when, and I don't respond to anything else in the professional world. This is music, the hospital that I work at, whatever. Okay. But if you don't know this, then I'm about to tell you. In my hometown, in my home city, my whole life for the last, I would say for the last 15 years, I've only been known as Stino. By every teacher, every friend, every adult, every parent of my friends for the last 15 years. Some of them didn't even know that that I had a full name. Some of them didn't even know that it was Celestino. People just called me Stino. And some of you don't know that. Like, if anyone from my work is listening to this right now. Yeah. No one else calls me Celestino except for my parents and people in my professional life. Everybody else does not even say that ever. It's only just Stino. And that's what I went by for my whole life. And it's kind of funny how I got that nickname. My mom tortured me with making me do swimming lessons for a long time. I know my mom's listening to this right now. I love you. I know, that's how I feel about it. I think she was doing a good thing though in the long run because I was fat. I mean, I still am fat, but I was a I had some. I've always dealt with the denser the denser apparition of gravity that I now withhold. But when I was little, I was big and it was unhealthy. I think she was just trying to get me to lose some weight. So I admire my mother for that. I really thank her, and I'm gonna do the same thing with my kids. You know, if they're leaning on the bit of the heavier side, I want them to feel healthy. You know, but I hated it. I hated swimming so much. It was the worst part of my life ever. I got bullied a lot. It was where most of the bullying happened about me having man boobs, and I still do, going really really strong, almost to a B cup. But for having man boobs, for being fat, for being different, the stutter certainly did not help in those situations. I got bullied. I probably got bullied every single day of swimming lessons, and that's why I didn't want to go back. But we kept going because my little brother Declan was a prodigy. So whatever. But that's where Stino came from. So when we were when me and my little brother were trying out for like the little league swim team or whatever, we were, the coach that was trying us out, that was there facilitating it, she had asked for my name, and I was like, "Oh, my name is Celestino." And she said, "Oh, come on, there's gotta be something shorter than that." And I was like, "Ah, no, I don't have any nicknames except for when the kids call me frumpy or fat ass or stupid man or man boob." I didn't say that. I was thinking it. And she just sat there for a second, and she said, "How about we just make Celestino shorter? Just call you Stino." I was like, "Okay," and that's where it came from. Because then I had Stino on the back of one of my shirts from a swim meet or something like that, and people saw it. They started calling me it, and then I just became known as Stino for the next 15 years. I do not particularly like being called Stino in professional settings, though, right? So if you are someone in my life that you know me in a professional setting, I would ask you that you still call me Celestino, just because Stino feels a little bit more unprofessional. But yeah, that's where Stino came from. I have no clue what I was talking about previously. That was just like a whole tangent. And for that, my mouth is dry. If my mouth is dry, you know what that means, huh? That means I'm going to put the rest of this can into my cup. I remember what I was talking about. I was talking about rocket fuel. Why am I talking about rocket fuel, huh, Celestino? Because I've told some stories about an old workplace that I used to work at, a conveyor factory. That I was probably breaking some kind of labor law. I was working there at 16 years old. The next youngest person was already benefiting from the ARP. So let's take a sip together real quick. Did I say sip? I mean gulp. So I worked with a lot of strange and interesting cats at that conveyor factory. I've told some stories about the pea corner and stuff like that and blah blah blah. Well, when I had started, I was very young and I was very scared. I was very intimidated by all these like men that smelled like mushrooms and looked like they wanted to kill me. And I had to work with them. And here comes me, squeaky clean me with my cool steel toe Skechers shoes, and I've got a big old water bottle, and I'm ready to work, And when they go on lunch, they just go to the boxing bag that they hung in the back of the warehouse and just start hitting that for their lunch break, So I coming in, and because I was scared, I didn't talk to many people, but I did come up with nicknames for everybody because I was too scared to ask them for their name. So I made nicknames for everybody, and then when I would go to my dad's office when I was eating lunch, if I wanted to talk about people, I just used the nickname that I gave them. These nicknames included things like Grumpy, Smoker, Jesus, uh, uh, um, Tats, Monkey Joe, Little Guy, Dum Dum, Dumb, um, Gauges. Gauges would roll his own cigarettes in the back, and he was most definitely on cocaine. So there were two more employees, and these are the stars of our story today. Take a trip with me down to the woods of Illinois, to the conveyor factory. We are going to be zooming in on these two characters, Copy and Paste. I'm very proud of myself for those two nicknames. I think that's very, very clever. And you want to know why it's clever? Because these guys were, it was two brothers from Australia. What are Australian brothers doing in a conveyor factory in the middle of a podunk town in Illinois? I'm asking myself the same question. I'm still asking myself that question, brother. But yeah, and their dad, I call him Outback something. He worked in the adjacent warehouse. He was welding. Copy and Paste were doing something. I forgot what their job even was. But Copy and Paste, probably 4 years of a difference. Copy's the older one. Paste is the younger one. I mean, splitting images, bro. Like, they looked the exact same. And that's why I called them Copy and Paste. And they would come into work like, good eye, mate. Absolutely, mate. Or make some conveyors, ain't it, mate? Yeah, mate. Like, oh, you're from South Africa, mate. You know, like, very, very, very cool, mate. Like, nor, I didn't go on break, mate. Nor, I didn't go on break, mate. Not at all, mate. Nor. Yeah, it was a lot of that. So one day, I was working in the paint shop, and in the corner of the paint shop is probably the scariest place on planet Earth. The break room of the paint shop, which wasn't even a room. It was just a table and a fridge covered in metal shavings and spray can paint that was probably huffed, and that was the break room spot. So I never went there because I would just be too scared to, and I would just go to my dad's office. But one day I did leave a drink in the fridge. I had the drink with me. I didn't want it to get warm, so I went to the little break spot, opened up the fridge, let the dust settle, move the skull and bones, away in the cobwebs, and I put the drink down in the fridge, and I closed it back up. And as I turn around, I'm looking at the shelf right next to it, and there's a particularly weird looking canister. I think to myself, what is this? I mean, I've been here for a long time now. I know what's what. I don't know what this is. Is this a tool? Is this are there like screws or bolts in it? Like, what is this? I go to touch it, and all I hear is, "All right, Mike, don't touch that, Mike." I whip around. I'm like, oh my gosh, He's like, "Oh, Mike, you don't want to touch that one, Mike." I was like, okay, like, hey, Copy, why? Well, that's rocket fuel, Mike. Huh? Huh? What did you say, mate? Oi, mate, what did you say? What? Yeah, mate, rocket fuel, mate. Don't want to be touching that. Burn your damn hand off, mate. Dissolve it to the bone, mate. Brother, this ain't the Outback, brother. I got no blossoming onion for you. I gotta know what the hell this is. Why do you have rocket fuel? Right? So I started asking him, why do you have rocket fuel in the shop? And he's like, me and my little brother over there we got some it was something like RC cars or something. Or like something that, or he had, I don't know, it was just something to do with something going very fast. So I'm like, okay, cool. Why at work? So I might, because we got a lot of space back there by the burn barrel and the rest of the scrapyard, might something blows up. Won't look too different, mate. I'm like, fair. I mean, this is probably the best place to do this. This is only second to going out to the Sahara Desert and doing this, or go back to your home country where it's nothing but witchetty grubs and the opera house. But I'm like, okay. I said, well, dude, you should probably like label this. I didn't think about that. Very nice. Very, very smart, mate. I'm like, yeah. Because these guys, if you put both their brains together, I don't think you would get an entire brain cell. Genuinely. Even if they heard me saying this, they would just laugh at it and just not understand it. I feel fine making fun of those people, to be honest with you. It sounds bad, but I mean, dude, they are some characters, just missing teeth everywhere. They never care to to clean up themselves, and they're making rocket fuel for their RC cars to do out in the back of the shop. Copy and paste were absolute riots. It was like, I loved working there, man. I mean, it's so crazy how my brain shifted. When I first started working there, it was the worst. I was crying. It hurt, and it was too much, and blah blah blah. But in the last 6 months of me working there, which would have already been like maybe a good year or so, on and off because of school, I loved it. I loved it. It was just fun. Maybe I loved it so much just because I knew I was leaving. Which is probably a big part of it. I knew I was leaving, and that's why I loved it, because I knew that although this was fun and a cool adventure and something new, I'm going to be going on to bigger things like going to Florida, where I am now, and going to college and be where I am now. That's a good introspective thought, but it was just fun, man. I loved hanging out with my dad there. Just so many funny characters in there, man. I would bet a large amount of my money on the fact that if you just had a good camera crew in that factory, just rolling the tape 24/7. I'm not even embellishing or making this up, guys. It would be funnier than The Office. It truly would. It would be funnier than The Office. Because so many things would happen, and I just get pissed because I'm like, man, I wish I recorded that. Man, I wish I had a camera. Because that was just so funny and so stupid, the way that just played out absolutely perfectly. Because this is just all of the shop guys. Wait until you get to learn about the guys in the actual offices. The nice, polo wearing, like cyclist guys that worked in the office, and some of their funny things about them. A couple of their nicknames, we got Pudding, Eeyore, Nerd Dude, Destiny, because he played this one guy played would play Destiny, and he has like 30 children. I do not wish that on any man, unless you want it, of course. But yeah, I really miss that because I got to hang out with my dad a lot. I would go to his office and eat lunch and stuff like that, and it was just fun. It was just a fun time, you know. Uh, me and my dad had stuff to talk about. It was like the first time I like really. It was probably the first time in my life where me and my dad were talking to each other the most, just because we had something to talk about together, which was really really fun. Like we could talk, we could. It's kind of funny. This is a term, but we could literally talk shop. We could talk about the shop, about the factory, and just laugh. Um, there was this one guy. His nickname was Dumb, and who gave him that nickname? Our boss, because that's how dumb he was. Um, he man like oh man, I got stuck working with him so much, and he would always tell me how many girls he was boning, and just drinking brewskis all night, and big guy, and he was just and then it's just like, dude, you are so sad, man. Like this isn't even coming from a place where like I feel like I'm better than him. No, don't get it twisted. It's not that. It's just like, dude, what are you trying to compensate for? Every day when I worked with him, he wouldn't wear any of the protective gear, and then he wonders why when the grinder wheel flew off of the thing, he lost 4 teeth. He wonders why, and he didn't get workers' comp because he wasn't wearing protective gear. I mean, like this is the type of brain we are dealing with here. And while we're working, I'm staring very, because my kind of gimmick in the shop, even though I was a good talker and I would make jokes and be friendly, they called me a couple things. They called me primarily they called me like Sal, right? Because no one wanted to. Those guys probably couldn't. They've never heard a name like Celestino. So it was either Sal, or the guys would just, if they needed me, they would true story, they would just like shout out a random Italian dish, and I would knew that they were calling for me. Like I would be working on something, and then I would just hear like, tortellini. I'm like, oh, I'm needed somewhere. Cappuccino. Hey, lasagna. Like prosciutto. I'd be like, oh, okay. I am needed somewhere. They call me earbud because I always had one earbud in. I had to. Even now at my job, I have to have one earbud in. I have to. My workday goes so smooth, and I'm so at peace when I can have an earbud in and I can listen to my podcasts. That's all I ask for. I can still do my job without the earbud. I'm not that pathetic, but when I have it, your business is going to 3x in profit, because I'm going to be so efficient and so happy to be working because I'm just doing my work and listening to my funny comedy podcasts. That's all I ask for, man. One guy would call me Jelly because he said I'm like a donut, big, round, and full of joy. Wasn't sure how to take that one, huh? Wasn't sure how to take that one. Huh? Yeah. That one was, when he first told me that one, I just kind of thought to myself, like, this is something that you want to tell me? This is something that you wanted me to know? Yeah? Okay, to each his own. That's one of those things that you just kind of that's one of those things that for certain people you just kind of don't tell them. I was fine with it. I thought it was funny, you know. I have accepted the way that I have accepted the grotesque body that I have. So, I'm big round and I'm full of joy, brother. So I thought that was funny. That yeah, they call me a lot of things, but man, that job was really fun. Really fun. Very fun. Take a sip with me. Um, Work has been very fun recently, actually. Let me tell you why. Um, so at my job, right, like I work in a hospital. I'm gonna try to say nothing more than that. Um, there is a program where this program will enroll it will enroll uh young adults with autism or Asperger's or something like that, and let them work in certain departments for 6 weeks, and then they get to move on to another one. And then, if they do well enough in one or the other, they could possibly get hired by the hospital. I think that is the coolest thing ever. I really do. I think that is so freaking cool. Because if you didn't know this about me, you will now. I have an unrelentless passion for education, music, Overwatch, and special education. I mean, I have such a love for being around those young adults, those kids, because it's really sad, you know, people don't give them it's not even attention that they want, necessarily. It's just it's the attitude. It's the right attitude. Because you could have some people that just completely just mark off people with disabilities like that, with autism, Asperger's, Down syndrome, and just assume that they're stupid, assume that they're dumb, assume that they're annoying or loud or won't understand anything you're saying, which is so not true. It's so not true, guys. They hear everything, man. They understand everything. It's not their understanding that they have that's hindered it. It's how their body expresses it. It's how they it's how they throw the ball back, which is what they struggle with. Um and then you could also have on the other end of the spectrum where over where you overhelp them and you make them feel stupid because you're trying to baby down everything. The real key is just to treat them like everybody else, man. That's it. That's it. You might not think that they understand what you're saying. You might not know that they understand, but they really do. They really do, and they are beautiful people. And I have such a burning passion for it. Why do I? I really don't know. I would like to think I have such a burning passion for it because at a young age, I had some classmates with it, and while everyone else was making fun of them, I thought it was very interesting the condition that they are in, and that I wanted to get to know them more and understand why. And maybe it was a little bit of the fact that I had Tourette syndrome myself. Now, don't get don't get it twisted. I'm not comparing myself to that. No, I have a lot more, like, I am the luckiest man in the world that I have, a syndrome that doesn't impede on, you know, emotions and actions and things like that. I'm not saying that I have it as rough as they do, but it did help me kind of relate to them in a little bit, just because at a younger age, I too knew what it was like to be different and have to deal with people making fun of me for it. So I felt that, guys. I felt that. And as I grew up, I just loved them, man. I just love those people, man. I mean, they, for the most part, are always smiling. They love the simplest things. It makes them so happy. And at the hospital, they have this program, man. It is just the coolest thing ever. And so in my department, we get these kids every 6 months, or sorry, every 6 weeks. We get a new kid, a new person. Now the last one, he was a bit of a tougher case, and you might be wondering, why am I saying this? Why am I even saying this publicly? Well, because I really wasn't too happy with how it all went down with the last kid. The last kid we had was very he had a very difficult time expressing his thoughts and emotions, and in executing things and understanding these things. Very, very hard time. I still, again, treated him like how I treat my boss, like my best friend at work. But the thing is, I just had a hard time trying to think of why they would put him in this situation. I once talked to the head of the team that puts all this together, and she said that this kid was super bright, and she's known him for so long, and he follows directions perfectly, and blah blah blah. He had such a difficult time executing these things. I'm not saying that he's not. He is certainly bright, but there are certain tasks that people have much more difficulty executing, and he really struggled in my department. He just did not get it. He wasn't very helpful. That's nothing against him. I feel like if they put him in the right department, he would be a great asset. But I am a little bothered by the fact that they would put him in my, in a department like the one I'm in, and possibly knowing that it was going to be that difficult. Now, I'm not saying that they should just cushion their lives. These kids should have the same experiences as all of us. They are human. They should struggle. That's very important. That's very important for development at any age. But I just didn't appreciate her telling us how good he's gonna be at all of this, and he's and that you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure why I'm bothered by it. Maybe it's not important. I just have a hard time justifying the fact that if she really knows this kid, then she would know that he's not gonna have an easy time here, and that he's not gonna be a good fit, where he could be great somewhere else. And because of that, the kid felt really stupid, and that's just super sad, man. None of these kids should ever feel stupid. They feel stupid all the time because they have horrible people telling them that they're stupid. They shouldn't actually feel like it. And it's hard not to feel like you're stupid when you're told to do something and you just don't understand. And that's what was going through this kid's head. I don't know. I just had a hard time justifying why they would put him in that situation. Am I wrong? Am I right? I don't know. But let me know what you think. I don't know. I just these kids are so important to me. Now I brought this up because we got a new kid recently. I believe this is his second week now, and he is pretty freaking awesome. Very high functioning. He makes fun of his autism here and there, which is really funny. I love it when these kids have a good sense of humor. Like I was trying to explain something to him. I think he has a hard time with words like reading numbers and letters and stuff like that. And I was trying to show him what he's supposed to read on this label to make sure and he just put both of his hands up. He said like man, you have to slow down. I have autism. And it's very hard. My autism makes this shit hard. And he was just kind of smiling. He was like, dude, I can't think that fast. My autism is sabotaging my brain right now. He was just laughing. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love that kind of attitude. But me and him every day at lunch have been playing the Pokemon card game. And it has been the best part of my week. Best part of my day every single day. Getting to go to lunch. Now we get 2 15-minute breaks too. So since he started and since we started playing the card game during lunch, I would just take both of my 15-minute breaks, smash them together, make it 30, and then put it right before lunch. So we have an hour to play the Pokemon card game. It has been so much fun, dude, playing with him. I mean, I've beat him every time, but he's gotten very, very close, and I can just tell that he loves it. I can tell that he doesn't really get to play this really ever with anybody else. I don't either. I mean, I would love to go to a card store and do like events where people play it together, but usually card stores are just full of like really smelly nerds that don't have object permanence. So but this kid's cool, so that's just been a lot of fun, honestly. And I bought a new deck the other day, and when I showed him it, he was like freaking out, like, dude, whoa, I can't believe blah, blah, blah. And then he had all these really awesome cards. Like he had some really, really good cards, but none of them were sleeved. He just had them tied up with a hair tie, which hurt my soul. I'm like, dude. Tomorrow, I'm gonna bring you one of my empty binders. I'm gonna put some sheets in it. I'm gonna give that to you so you can put these in that binder and sleeves, because I would hate to see your cards get ruined. So I brought it to him the next day, and he was just all excited. He put all of his expensive cards in there, and then the next day he came back. He was like, dude, I showed my mom the binder, blah blah. And yeah, I mean, that dude, I love being around special education environments. So much joy, you know. The previous kid could dance his ass off, though. We would play music on the TV we have in the office space, and he would just bust in this entire routine, man. That's what I'm saying. These kids are bright. There's certain things that they just have such a hard time with, dude. That kid could bust a move, hitting the stanky leg on him. Man, I love it, man. Absolutely love it. So what else has been going on, guys? Let me think. I'm gonna start. So the questions that you leave on episodes, and just a reminder, you can leave questions on the Spotify episode, on YouTube, leave on the Instagram, leave questions anywhere. I want questions. Because I'm gonna start making Q&A episodes instead of answering the questions on the next episode. I'm gonna start making Q&A episodes. I'm still waiting on something to come in that I wanted to surprise y'all with. I was hoping it was gonna be here today, but I'm going to have to surprise y'all next week. But something else I do want to start thinking about doing is reviews. Movie reviews, TV reviews, game reviews. Start making videos like that. Let me know what you guys think. I'd like to make it topical. I'm going to be doing things, that are of current times, And, yeah. Let me think, guys. Oh, man, my tics, dude. My tics have been getting pretty bad recently, and I don't know why. I don't know what's causing it. Maybe it's the caffeine intake. But my stomach tic has been really bad. Like, really bad. It's been really bothering me, and I'm gonna try to work on that. I'm gonna try to work on that. But it's been getting really bad, So I just want to work on that. I loved doing the episodes with the previous guests, but I do like doing the episodes by myself too. I was telling my friend this. I think the episodes by myself are funnier, but the episodes with the guests are more interesting. Like you learn more because you get to hear about this person's life and whatever. But yeah, I think I think we're gonna close out here, guys. I'm going to keep you guys posted on the lemon vodka I've got brewing on. Thank you, Mrs. T. Yeah, follow the Instagram. I make really funny I make really funny highlight videos of the funny things that me and the guests say and stuff like that. I post them there. Subscribe to the YouTube. If you're on Spotify, now listen, if you're on Spotify, listen to me here. If you're listening to this on Spotify right now, I want you to do something for me. If you do this, you're going to make Santa very, very happy. Go to the homepage of the podcast. So if you have the episode open, just go to the front page of the show, of the podcast. With the list of episodes under it, right? And at the top, around the title area, there are stars. You can rate me 5 stars. Please, please, please rate me. Drop a rate in there. If you don't see the stars, then tap the three dots icon, and it's gonna be there. That's really gonna help me out. I need to get 100 listeners in a 60-day period to start monetizing, and that would just mean the world to me. That would help me out so much, and it's gonna make this podcast even better than it already is, man. I've got so many cool ideas for this, man. You don't even know what I'm capable of, man. So, yep. Oh, and same thing on Apple Podcasts, guys. Drop a review, drop a rating, subscribe to the YouTube, like the video, guys. I know it's cliche to say all of this, but it really, really does help. So yeah, guys, at new episodes on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. And I just want to thank all of you. Thank you. Thank you for coming by the Something Cafe. I'll see y'all later.